Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, B Farm. Thinking right out here in my lab, and I'm still in the book. I'm just rolling. We got page number 89. We getting it in. Let's go. I got a good one for you today. A compendium of the Ausarian resurrection. And compendium means the breakdown or to explain synopsis. Okay, use the big word. I wanted you to define it right quick. I had to look it up myself, so don't feel bad. All right, here you go. Rightism, 25 rule to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will run through. That's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have it for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not that they know not, is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep, I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and to my God be true. I got a little kink over here. What? Lifting the weights this morning. All right, got a little muscle tension. But all right, let's go. Right now, let's talk about the compendium of the creation. I love this story. Let's go. Good breakdown, good information. See if I can pull it off. The process of creation is explained in the form of cosmological system. For a better understanding, cosmology is another branch of philosophy dealing with the origin, processes, and the structure of the universe. Cosmogony is the astrophysical study of creation and the evolution of the universe. Both of these disciplines are inherent facets of the Egyptian philosophy through the main religious systems or companies of what they call god and goddesses. A company of god and goddesses is a group of deities which symbolize a particular cosmic force or principles that what Mayat represents, which emanates from the all-encompassing supreme being we call God. And we call him by a whole bunch of different names. So that's not the issue. It ain't but one of them. So the names don't make a difference. But the attributes that says God, that stays the same. So from which they have emerged from this one supreme being, the self or supreme being, depending on how you call him, what name you go by, creation through the properties of and the principles represented by the what we call the Paute or company of gods and goddesses, which are really cosmic laws of nature. Shu represents air. Tufnut represents moisture that comes down from the sky. Geb represents the earth. Nut represents heaven. The sixth element and the sun represents the sun. The sixth element is man, Asar, from spirit to matter. That's why we call it the mark of the beast. And if you don't become conscious, your higher conscious, you will be just like the beast of the field. You will be low level living on what? Instinct, fight or flight, and sexual desires. That's the three levels, the low level. All right. But we uses the forces to understand nature. So the system of the company god and goddesses of the Anu is regarded and was told as the oldest and the forms the basis on the Ausarian Trinity. It is expressed in this diagram below. I'm about to go over to you. It ain't in physical form, but this is how it breaks down. God, the virtue, the all, the noon. From there we got Ratim. Then you got Hathor, which is God's eye. That's the one he sent down to destroy all the haters. That's Hathor, but she come segment the fiery charge of Ra. She couldn't be beat. She couldn't stop. She had the power of Ra in her. Tahuti is God's mind, our mind. The same God is that birth with you. He's the same God at Judgment Day. He's with you all the time. This is God's mind. And the Greeks called him Hermes Trismegistus. The Romans called him Mercury. But everybody got God. He's like God's messenger. My favorite, Maya. She represents duality. He had to have order and divine. That's what Maya represents. And after that, you see Shu, Tough Nuke, Gab, Nuke. Then you got Set, Nephthep, Asar, Aset, and Asar and Nephthep had offspring. That's Anubis, your discernment. And Asar and Aset had a son. That's Haru. That's the spirit that's in me and you. We are Haru. Our father is Asar and our mother is Aset, symbolically. Now, the diagram I just told you about above, it will show what they call the Enoch, the 9 gods, okay? Or the creator principles, aka from Star Wars, the Force, okay? Which are embodied in the primordial gods and goddesses of creation. Emanated from the supreme being, Ra or Ratim, arose out of the new, the primeval waters, and the hidden essence, and began sailing, watch this, on his boat of 1,000,000 years. Now the boat that they on don't sail on water. So what boat you got that you can sell for 1,000,000 years that don't sail on the water? Which included what? The company of the god. So he got his boys with him. If you hear any noise, oh, it's him and the boys. The god and goddesses. On his boat that emerged, the netters, or what we call, again, cosmic principles of creation. And the netters of the Enoch are Ra, Atum, Shu, air, Ra, the sun, Shu, air, Tufnu, moisture, rainfall, the dew, morning dew, moisture. Geb represents the earth. We call earth Mother Earth. Before that, in the ancients, Geb was the male represented earth. Why? Because Newt represented heaven. That's the female over top of the man. Asar represents the first spirit into matter. He represents the spirit and the soul of God. And Aset, his wife, sister, represents wisdom and intuitive knowledge. When you put them two together, the offspring would be Haru. That's us, me and you. But you got Set, represents the ego. The ego, the sign for the hieroglyphic sign for the ego is a man with a hatchet to his head. Let you know the ego is self-destructive. Broad is the road to destruction. Moving on. Now y'all follow that road to Set. And Nephthep, which is Aset's twin sister, she represents mortality. Aset represents immortality. So they represent death. Anything born will die. That's what Nephthep represents. Nature, mortality. And then I told you about Hathor. Okay, that's the force, female force from Ra. She got firepower like no other. And when he sent her down to do work, she almost destroyed mankind. That's another story. But then you got Tahuti, the mind of God, right thinking, right reason, logic. That's what Tahuti represents. And then you got Maya. She represents attributes of the Supreme Being as the very stuff or the substratum which makes up creation. Maya represents creation. Shu, Tough, Newt, Geb, Newt, Asar, Aset, Set, and Nephthep, they all represent principles upon which creation manifests. Anubis, told you about him. That's spirit and mortality. Together, they create discernment. That's who Anubis represents. He the one to make sure you get a fair shake. He the one to make sure the scales is balanced. Make sure ain't no funky business, no monkey business. If we get a fair shot at the scale of Judgment Day, that's his job. And Anubis is not part of the Enoch. No, he's a separate entity. because he represents the feature of what? Intellectual discernment in the Ausarian myth. He's like the big brother to Haru. Sailing signifies what? The beginning of motion and creation, aka y'all call the Big Bang. Okay? Movement in time and space now. Motion implies that events occur in this realm of what we call what? Time and space. Thus, the phenomenal universe comes into existence as what? As a mass of moving essence. It has a mind, a life of its own. We call the elements, prior to the motion, there was a primeval state of being without any form and without existence in this time and space. See this projection? These are all coming from the one God. Everything comes from the dot that represents God. The projections above, I just showed you the supreme being, the dot, the nebulature. He manifests as the various gods. I just showed you to the top level. You got Set, you got Asar, you got Neftet, and you have Haru. That's him in full blown. That's him, master self. Our goal is to become Haru Haru the Great. Then you got Anubis, you got Ra, you got Tahuti, and you got Hathor. These are all, again, principles that keep what? Creation going, maintains it. This was this. God is in which all human beings, the supreme being, the virtue, manifests as all these various gods and goddesses, as well, even as human beings. He's here in us. Again, human beings, nature, and the elements. Thus, from the one arose many. However, all objects are in reality merely a reflection of the one true. And since a reflection is what? Not real. Only the one is real. God. Everything's come from the one and is on the one, as James tell you. Therefore, even though there appear to be multiplicity and duality in creation, they are only illusions that's based on the human ignorance. All is one, and the one is God. Next lesson, we're going to talk about Haru, Asar, Aset, and Haru, the royal family, the story of life. I told it before, I'm going to tell it again. Asar and Aset was dedicated themselves to the welfare of what? Humanity, teaching the world, and they sought to spread civilization throughout the earth. That was their job. Even as far as India and China. Okay? During the absence of Asar from his kingdom, when he went out doing his thing, his brother Set had no opportunities to make innovations in the state. Why? Because his wife Aset was extremely vigilant. She was on her game, so to speak, in governing the country and always on her guard and watchful for any irregularities or unrighteous action that Set may try to get involved in. She was on her game. But upon Asar's return from his long trip around the world, touring, taking care of business, and carrying his teachings of wisdom abroad, there was merriment, meaning rejoicing throughout the land. However, one day after Asar returned, through his lack of vigilance, what you mean? The story goes, he had a few drinks, and it's always a blame on alcohol. He had a few drinks, and Set and Neftet already been talking, and Set couldn't reproduce, can't make babies. Neftet wants a baby. She switched hairdressing. She looked like they twins. The only difference between Neftet and Set is the headdress. So she put the headdress on, and she went in the room, and Saw came in thinking that's his wife, and they did the wild thing, and in 9 months, we got Anubis. Set is pissed. Why? He know what it is. If your brother impregnate your sister, he might have some issues with him. So yeah, he killed him. Okay, that's where the story stems to, where he my jealous. No, he wasn't jealous. He pissed. You impregnated my wife. Couldn't handle it. Okay, so the story goes, he got jealous and he took him out, set him up, took him out. Where we at down here? Okay, so upon his arrival, and what happened, Asar got a little relaxed and became intoxicated, and he ended up sleeping with Seth's wife. Left that. Left that as the result of the intercourse with Asar begot Anubis. That's your discernment factor. All this is mythological, symbolical concepts of you building yourself to be your best self. You need Anubis to be what? Your discerning factor, so you can recognize the bullshitters from the real. That's all. My discernment been sharp since I was on the corner of 18th Street and Avon Avenue, selling nickel bags of weed. All right. Set, who represents what? The personification of evil forces, plotted in jealous rage and anger, the blinding passion that will prevent you from what? Forgiveness. When you get so mad at somebody, I understand because I got the same concept, and I just don't like you. I'm not going to do nothing with you. We done, through, finished. And through his blind passion that will prevent forgiveness, he couldn't let it go, and understanding things happen. So to usurp the throne, and he conspired to kill his brother, Asar. Got his weight, got his measurements, made a casket perfectly fit for him, gave a big party, elaborate party, but he didn't invite Aset. So she went at the party. She just know the husband going to party. Yeah, it's all good. It's a man thing. Men night out. Okay. So he got him there, tricked him. Set secretly got Asar's measurements. Okay. And constructed a personal made coffin specifically for him through the trickery. Set was able to get Aset to what? Try his coffin on for size. Let's see how it fit. He said anybody who fit the coffin can have it, knowing that he already made it for who? Asar, his brother, and everybody wanted it. Everybody looked dressed up. Yeah, everybody wanted it. Nobody fit. Asar said, "All right, let me get." He jumped in there. He said, "Oh, perfect, it's mine." He said, "Yeah, it sure is." And started nailed the shit, laid molten silver, sealed him up, laid him down, put him in the river. Okay, he floated down river, dumped him in the river, the Nile River. He floated down river. We know the story. So the coffin was on its way to the coast of Syria at the end of the river, where it became embodied in earth, from which it grew the tree. The tree had a pleasant aroma, smelled good. We call that the jed. That means that's the backbone of Asar. The jed is the symbol of Asar's back. The four higher brackets represents higher consciousness, from the heart chakra to the throat chakra to the ajna chakra, the third eye chakra to the crown chakra. So the four higher levels. In Masonry, it would be the four we know it as the red house. But the jed column is symbolic again of what we call the upper energy centers I just told about you, the chakras. That relates to the levels of consciousness of one spirit, knowledge and consciousness. If you just on the third level, your ego, you running by your lower nature. You like sexual pleasures, you like material things, you're on a lower level. That's aka the beastly nature level. From the fourth level, compassion, empathy, speaking Makaru, the truth, third eye opening, spiritual awakening, you know yourself, the crown chakra, you living what? In connection with God. You and God has a one-on-one relationship now at that level. That's the highest level of spiritual awakening. So the king of Syria was out walking past the tree. This is called fluff. I'm going to just go through it because this is just, again, fluff. So Aset, Asad, wife, who is the personification of the life-giving mother force in creation and in all human beings, went to Syria in search for Saul. Her search led her to the palace. She tried to help the king's son out. She paranoid. But then Aset then told the king straight out, Asad, my husband, is inside that pillar, that tree that you got that smells so good. Can I have it back? The king graciously gave her the pillow, the jet pillow, and she returned back to Kemet, Egypt, with the assistance of Sabak. Now, Sabak is the crocodile god. He had an issue because when they were Moving on. Sawback is the son of my girl Net. I just gave that lesson the other day. But Set brought back the body of Asar on the back of Sawback. He carried him back home. He represents power, strength. Sawback, the crocodile god. He had his own town and they worshipped crocodile. They mummified crocodiles, okay? Crocodilia was his name. But right here, you'll see Asar laying out on the bench, okay? See that right here? That's the throne. That's Aset. Here is an inverted throne. That's Nephet. Twins. They will never be separated. Everywhere they go, they don't go without each other. Okay, everything they do together. They twins. Okay. Only difference is the difference in the headdress. One is a crown, one is the inverted crown. Okay, what I just showed you. Okay, I had it backwards. Excuse me. Aset is at the feet, the Nephet is at the head. She got the inverted crown. Aset got the inverted crown. I'm looking, I see it on there looking backwards, but this is what it looks like. This is, I said, she's at the feet, Nephet is at the head. Okay, let's go. Okay, a little bit more. I'm almost done. We had to do this as a setback in the back. Okay, I just showed you a picture. I said that wailing. They mourned for 28 days. They mourned for a whole month. They wailed and cried and they carried on, okay, over the dead body of Asar, as they would later do over the dead body of Harut, from a bas relief at the temple of Isis in Philae. Upon her return to Kemet, Aset went to the papyrus swamps, where she laid over Asar's dead body and fanned him with her wings as the bird, as the kite, infusing him with what? New life, energy. In this manner, Aset actually revived Asar through the power of love and wisdom. And then they what? United once more. And from their union was conceived a son, Haru. That's the spirit from the soul and the wisdom. The offspring is the spirit that's in me and you, Haru. And that was the assistance of the God, by the assistance of God, Tahuti, the God's mind, Amun, the hidden God. Haru therefore was born from the union, and this is us as human beings, the spirit of Asar, the life-giving power force, and Aset, the physical nature, the receiver of the sperm from Asar to create life, which is Haru. That spirit represents the union of spirit and matter, and the renewed life of Asar, aka his rebirth, the reincarnation of his spirit in human form, which is us. And after doing this, one evening, Set was out hunting in the swamps. He came upon the body of Sar and Aset. And in a rage of passion, he lost it. So he ended up dismembering the body of Sar, cut them up into 14 pieces, and scattered them throughout the land. Some say the world, but just in Egypt, okay? And this was, it is Set, the brute force of our bodily impulses and our desires for what? For dismembering our higher intellect. The lower wants to take out the higher. And he got that off because he caught what? The higher sleeping. Got him in the coffin, took him out. Okay, so you got to be aware of your ego. That devil is always working, as y'all say. I just want to put it to you so you can understand it. But in your higher intellect, which is Haru now, he ain't going to let Set put the banana in his tailpipe, so he ain't going for the okie doke. You got more man, you ain't getting me. Instead of oneness and unity, we see a Set multiplicity and separateness from the ego, which gives rise to egoistic, selfish, and violent behavior. The great mother, Aset, once again set out in search, what? Now for the pieces of Asar, not just the body. Now she got to find pieces, 14 of them. 13 they're going to find. One piece got eaten by the fish, which to help Anubis and that and Tahuti to help her pull this off. She had help. So after searching all over the world, see here, 1 minute they said land, next thing it's a world. Woo! That tickle went all the way up my nose, so had to get that out. And again, they found all the pieces of the body except for his penis, his phallus, which was eaten by the fish. And in Eastern Hindu Tantra mythology, the god Shiva, who is the equivalent to Asar in Egypt, also lost what? His phallus in one story. In the Egyptian and the Hindu Tantra is equivalent to us. Okay, is mythology. This loss represents what? Seminal retention, seminal retention, and or celibacy, in order to what? Channel your sexual energy to your higher spiritual center. Excuse me. And thereby adding years to your life and helping your spiritual transformation into your spiritual energy are set through her love and devotion and wisdom, and with the help of Anuba. Excuse me. And that they reconstructed the pieces, all except the phallus and what was eaten by the fish. So Asar thus regained life and became king of the realm of the dead, aka the afterlife. And the only way you get to see him, to be with him, is live a righteous life past the scales of Maya at Judgment Day. That's the concept that was set forth. Now, Aset took Haru into hiding so that he could grow up safely away from Set. And one day, Set sent an evil scorpion to find Haru and kill him, sting him, so that he could what? Not grow up and take over. Harad did the same thing with Jesus, killed all the firstborn. Why? The story was that a kid gonna be born and come up and take him over, so he killed all the firstborns. That's where that comes from. And from the throne of Egypt, the scorpion found him, stung him, and killed Haru. There's a story about that too. Aset got so upset. She stopped the world. Stop time. Stop. My son need to be tended to. And when Aset found out about this, she was so grief stricken, that her cry was heard to the farthest reaches of the universe. Okay? And when Ra, the supreme being, her father, heard it, he stopped his movement. The boat of 1,000,000,000 years stopped it. And this effectively brought what they called the entire universe to a standstill. She stopped time. That's how much power she had. Okay, she could bring you back to life, and she could actually stop time. She's a bad girl. But in response to Aset, Ra sent who? Tahuti, his mind, his consciousness, his right thinking, to assist Aset. Tahuti carried special words of power, Heka, which allowed him to revive Haru too. The two of them together hit the spell and brought him back to life. And when Haru became a young man, Asar returned from the realm of the dead and encouraged him to take up arms, vitality, wisdom, courage, strength, and will to what? Establish himself in truth, justice, and righteousness in the world by challenging Set to his current ruler. At the time, Set was in charge. All hell was breaking loose. Like we're going through right now, we got this clown in charge. All hell breaking loose all over the world, everywhere with us. So that's the same thing that happened 1,000 years ago. Bad leadership leads to bad reactions and bad actions. And right now, I told you with this clown in charge, we going to hell in the handbasket. Set represents hell. The president is Set represent hell right now. It haven't changed. Only thing changes the people. Hope you got the lesson. I got to go. Why? It's not gonna be that long. But my point was to get the lesson down. Hope you understood it. This is all mythological stories to give you understanding about how our ancients saw God and how we respect and revere Him through symbolism and righteous living and virtuous actions. Right thinkers, may you all live to be 100, me 100 minus a day. So none of my right thinkers, we starting to learn now about what we do. Oh, the creation story passed away. The compendium of the Ausarian resurrection. I'll be back. I got more.